We're back. Hi, Wildflowers.
Hi, Wildflower. How are you?
How are you?
Do you remember what number this is?
No.
85.
No, it should have been.
Oh, because we missed 84.
Yeah, we didn't do 84.
Yeah.
We ended up
I was
doing-
wondering why I had so many books to choose from. I said, I feel like I haven't done a book in such a long time.
Yeah, I have a lot of books to choose from too.
Oh,
which is
me too.
good.
I have a lot,
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, this is National Book Festival Day in the
Yeah.
Library of
Oh.
Congress. Yeah, Mary Calvey, Book Club at Mary Calvey. She
Yay.
interviewed the gentleman from the Library of Congress, and she posted
Oh.
it. So, yeah.
I met Karen. She is
Oh,
the
the
head
head
of the she's the librarian of Congress.
Yes.
I met her. Steve was there. Oh,
Right.
she was at the bookstore.
Yeah, but he did an event and
Yeah.
he introduced, it was their book,
Oh, it was at the book fair in
Fair,
Oyster
yeah.
Bay. She came and they took a picture of, I was in the picture with her, standing next to her.
she,
I want to find out who has that picture.
So this is the librarian from the Library
The librarian of Congress. Her name is
Right.
Karen and I can't remember her last name.
they had her on PBS when she, the Mark Twain Award, I believe it
Now,
was.
she isn't who Mary Calvey interviewed, though. correct?
No,
No.
it was some gentleman, I don't remember if
Well, I just want to say shout out to Mary Calvey because she's got her book discussion group,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I love anybody that just makes a focus of books and gets
Exactly.
people excited
I know,
about
to
reading
promote
books.
reading to
Right. I
people in this country
I
because
love it.
God knows we need it.
Yeah, definitely.
So-
That's
But-
on CBS.
CBS, which is my favorite
Yeah.
channel.
And you're going to be on
I
it. Carol's going to be
am.
on.
I am.
And we don't know when.
No, either September 5th or 6th at this point. That's what I
Okay.
was told, so we'll
Okay.
see.
So Mary's going to be asking her about her writing journey and
And-
talk about her new book coming out on September 10th.
Yes.
You can pre-order it in all places and wherever you like
Including
to pre-order
Books a Million.
books.
Yeah, Books a
Yeah,
Million.
Books a Million,
you go.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble,
Yep.
on the
Your
road book events.
Your independent bookstore.
Yep, you can go into the bookstore. It comes out on September 10th, and it's
Yes.
a really good story. It's a
you.
prequel
Yes.
to her other novel, Without Grace.
But
You don't have to read Without Grace.
You can let her
But
advertise.
I think if you read Without Grace first, and then you read Before She Was a Finley, the whole story comes together
Yes.
so well. But you don't need to. But the books are also, they're paperback, so you don't have to invest $30 in a book.
Absolutely.
Before She Was a Finley is $20 plus tax,
Right.
and Without Grace is $14.95 plus tax.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So
And on my website it says where I'll be doing events. I'll be doing, I'm doing a book launch just by invitation only. But then on the 14th of September, I'll be doing it in Farmingdale, a place called Back in Time, which is ideal because of
It's a great place.
Yeah, the
right,
location.
yeah,
has
Great
it's
all-
a really really nice shop too.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
It's right on Main Street in Farmingdale, right by the train station. If you don't live on Long Island, it's right by the
Nice
Long
vibe
Island
that they
Railroad.
have going on in the back.
Yes,
too.
uh-huh.
Oh, I love
With
it.
their-
Oh,
with
they
their
have an outdoor area.
dining,
They have a little
like,
bar.
a bar area.
There's
right.
a bakery in it. It's,
Oh, my God,
it's
yeah.
really an awesome
It's a cool place to hang out for the locals.
And it's going to be cooler on that date because Carol's going to be there.
Oh,
No, because
thank
we're
you.
all going to be there.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, Judy and I too. We'll make it
Awesome.
extra cool.
Yeah, I know some people are going to come. They've already told me they're going to come. And then September 17th, see if I have these dates memorized, I'll be at Syosset Library.
Oh, that's right. That's at
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm going to be doing some podcasts soon. I'll be doing a podcast with them. And then on September 26th, I'll be doing Rockville Central Library.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about them. Yeah.
And, you're selling books.
I know.
right?
I know.
And
Put it
then
down.
I'll be heading upstate, and then October 12th, wait, 11th? No,
No,
11th.
That was
11th.
11th, I'll be doing Malone Library, Malone, New York. And then on the 12th, I'll be doing Bookburg in Plattsburgh. And then on the 13th, I'll be doing the bookstore, Book Plus in Lake Placid. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Keep them busy.
Very
Yeah.
busy.
But yeah, enough about me.
Well, also, as somebody who also does great things for books, did you all see the link that I sent you about Pink?
Pink, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The rock
yes.
star. Shout out to Pink. I
Yay,
love her.
Pink.
Yeah,
She
I love her
hands
too.
out books, banned books at her concerts, and she did it recently
Yeah.
in Florida. She had the titles
place
of
to do it.
Good place to do it. So well done. I've always loved Pink, but when
Yeah.
I read that, I loved her even more. So I think that
I
she's
love
awesome.
that she had her daughter singing
Her
with
daughter's so
I
good.
know.
Yeah.
Her daughter's so pretty
Yeah.
too.
She's
And I
hers.
love her name because we have the same
Yes, I
daughter,
thought-
same dad.
Oh, her name is Judith?
No, Willow.
Oh,
we have
oh.
the same. We chose the same name, I should say. We have the same likeness for fondness of this name, Willow. I have a daughter,
Yeah.
Willow, as well.
Yeah.
Did you guys get what's going on here?
Well, Carol made us all wear white today in celebration of women getting the vote.
It was a
It's
hard
white.
thing to leave the house without it getting dirty.
I had on like an old t-shirt all morning. I said, I'm not putting this on
And
because
I
it'll be
failed
a
it. I
mess.
got a stain on my tank top underneath.
So white was the color of the suffragette movement. It didn't originally start out that way.
Oh, really?
No,
Oh, I
in
don't know this.
1869, when the suffragettes, that's how long they were in business a long time.
This is a long time
They were
coming.
going to
Right.
Kansas, and the state flower of Kansas is the sunflower.
Sunflower, yes.
So
I
they
got
made,
them.
Ooh. yellow. They made yellow the color of
Oh,
suffragettes,
okay.
and it
Somebody's
was
been
that
doing
way.
research.
That was that way for a while.
Should wear
Oh,
them.
And then in England, I think it was purple, blue, and white. And then, do you know why they picked white?
No.
No.
Wait, do I have it in my
It's not gonna
notes?
say.
I did take some. Maybe.
Am I stealing your thunder?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
No, not at all. Go
Why
for
did-
it.
Well, they picked white because they wanted to stand out. And they said the streets are so dark and white stands out, but a big group of women all wearing white really stands out.
Well, it did the other night on the convention.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that put it in my head, like, wouldn't it be fun if we all wore white? But
Yeah.
yeah, so it was certified. The amendment's official certification date is,
August in 1920.
but what date?
Was it today's date?
Well, it's the
August 28th.
26th.
26th.
But it said, however, it's not uncommon for the amendment to also be celebrated on August 18th, the anniversary of when Tennessee ratified it.
Oh, they were the last
They were
state
the
to
last,
ratify it. That's
So,
right.
But we have to give a shout out and mention this. On paper, the amendment protected discrimination
Mm-hmm.
against all women, but in practice,
Yes.
it only gave white
It
women.
didn't say women. It said you cannot be discriminated. You cannot be kept from voting because of sex. But it didn't account for anything else. So
Wow.
some African American women got to vote, but in other places they were kept from voting because they weren't discriminating because of their sex. It was because they were black.
Their color.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that
So-
didn't really get rectified until 1965.
Yep. 65.
Yeah, with the Voters' Rights Act.
What a
It's
long,
like she's reading my
long
notes,
way
but
we've
she's done.
come, and it's not perfect. Just like anything that it takes time to get it right, and
Yes.
it takes time to evolve. But if we go backwards, as if
Yeah.
we're going to be undoing a lot of work
Oh, yeah.
that a lot of people, as you said, from the date has been
That's
spending
right.
so long
Yeah.
to get us
Yeah.
here.
I know.
Right, it's a good
Hence
to know our
the white.
history.
I
So that's why we
remember,
wear
yeah.
white
Yeah.
too.
So, and like you let them take away women's control over their own bodies,
This is it.
then what's to keep them from saying, oh, well, not everybody can vote. Maybe we won't let them vote. We'll raise the age for women.
Right.
We'll start, look what happened. Like women couldn't own property.
Right. It's only recently,
Yes,
really.
Women
Yeah.
couldn't even open a credit
A
card
credit
until
card,
right.
1973.
I
believe.
got my
Yeah.
first credit card in my own name. It was like, holy mackerel!
Well,
it's
but
not
what
in
you
my
said
husband's
is
name.
similar. I mean, because
Yeah.
if you think you could own property, I think if you were widowed, right, or
A single, married
married
woman
woman
could own property if she was widowed.
if she was
A
widowed.
single
but-
woman could not own
Yeah.
property. And I think a married woman couldn't own property up to a certain date, even when
Right.
she was married.
It would
Yeah,
be,
yeah,
even
yeah.
if a married woman inherited property, it was given
Right.
to the husband.
Exactly.
So I
yes.
mean, there's so many things that we are in risk of going
Yeah.
backwards, but we're not going to go back.
We can't.
Yeah,
We can't.
no, I'm
We're
not
gonna
if
go
I can
back.
help it. I'm still writing postcards.
Me
Yep.
too.
You know, and we do what we can. I've actually gotten a little more brazen on Facebook too, because I normally do not answer stupidity on Facebook, but I had to do it with someone, and I was very polite about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I stated some facts.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But they don't seem to matter,
Yeah.
unfortunately, for a lot of people. But, you know, we are hoping. I just want to give a shout out to President Biden and say thank you.
Yeah.
He made a really tough decision, but one that he put the country first.
And, you know, actually, double kudos to him, because he didn't want to do it.
Right.
And he did it anyway.
Right.
Because he knew that it was the right thing to do.
Right. Because,
You know,
again,
even though he still believed that he could beat Trump, he still stepped aside.
Right.
That's like, he's going to go down as a hero in history.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if Trump loses.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hope. Anyway.
Well, I can't talk the politics.
No, you
as
can't.
Yes, I know.
But what I can talk for a second is political pundits. And I just want to we talked a shout out to somebody like Pink, who I just thought rocked it. But I want to boo Ann Coulter. You know,
holy shit,
shame on her.
She, you know, for those of you who may not know, she publicly mocked the vice presidential candidate Tim Wendell's 17-year-old son, who was emotional listening to his father in a proud moment,
Right.
and got emotional, was crying. I would too, for someone who cries at anything. I mean,
Right.
I could probably cry in demand if you want. I cry
Yeah,
at
you
many
have.
things.
You've told me. And
Yeah.
You have.
To mock this child, he's 17
Yeah.
He's
still, and doing it
neurodivergent
because he's.
also-
He's neurodivergent.
Yes.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that, which
Yeah.
makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I know.
You know what? I'm just.
Yeah, what did she say? Talk about weird?
Yeah.
That's what she
Yeah.
said. Talk about weird.
She should be ashamed of herself,
Yeah.
and to
Well, she
end-
took down her comment, you know.
Well,
did she?
you know, she should lose a lot more than her comment. I mean, if
Yeah.
this is the face of
It's
that
Fox
that
News. They don't
agency,
care. They-
you
Well,
know,
no, she's not.
It should
just
say a lot.
She's on everything. Like.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah.
If that's what the party was looking for, to
I know.
give them the news and to look up for, their bar is set very low.
I was surprised that I didn't hear about that on the news at all. And I've been listening all week long. I read about it. It was a brief little statement in an opinion piece in the Times today. And I said, oh, I wish I knew what she said. The only thing they said she said was, talk about weird,
Yeah,
and
that-
referring to the hug that he gave his father.
Well, it showed a picture of him
Of him
sobbing.
crying.
Of
Yeah.
him sobbing, and you know, shame on her. But I don't think they want to give her any, because it's not fair to Gus, the son,
Yeah,
too. To
I
give
know,
her
that's
any-
true.
Yeah,
You know,
and
I wish that Tim Walsh or his wife would speak out about it.
Maybe they do. Maybe they.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes you just don't want to give any air
when
to
it
that.
comes to kids, it's tricky, you
Yeah.
know, and I don't know how I would deal with it. I mean, it's not my kid, but I say it here because I think there needs, you know, there has to be a line. Whatever political party you fathom, it's not right to attack anybody's child.
How about
On
with Barron?
any side.
Nobody ever went after Barron Trump.
No, and nor should they.
No,
Right.
of
You know,
course not.
absolutely not.
It would have been
It's off
disgraceful, but
limits.
you know, he seemed a little, you know, in the beginning, like
Yeah,
he was always in the
shy,
background,
yeah.
very withdrawn looking. You know, people didn't make fun of him.
No, and nor should they. And I was proud that nobody made fun
Right,
because that's the
exactly.
way it should
Absolutely.
be.
Yeah, hands off people's children.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know,
Unless they publicly enter the arena, like, you know, we saw
like Donald Trump
Trump's
Jr.
children, you know, and then
Well, they're not even children.
but
no,
adult,
they're
but you know,
adults.
they're
Yeah.
seeking political office, and
Right.
then they're fair game. But when they're just growing up, no,
Yeah.
you don't go after somebody's
No,
children.
but I agree
like
with you,
that.
Judy. And
So I
yeah,
just had
shame
to, I'm
on her.
sorry,
But
Deidre, I
she's-
had to say
no,
that.
she
It
says
really
such,
bothered
she
me.
said such horrible things anyway. But you know what? It's my turn to do the wine.
Alrighty.
And let me see if I can pick this up with us. Okay.
We didn't take a picture of this.
I did.
Oh, okay. All right, there you
I
are.
did way ahead of time.
You didn't take a picture of the book.
Of your,
I did.
When somebody gets here
You
late.
Oh,
did?
not of yours.
Now, when someone gets here late, what do you expect? Oh,
Here, would you like me to pour?
That's okay.
Carol, this is opened already.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it's probably sour.
No,
Thanks for the sour wine,
I
Carol.
wonder why there's some missing.
Look, it looks like vinegar.
Who did it?
Carol had one for breakfast.
Just a little for me.
yeah, I don't want to waste it. Trust me.
Oh, I guess it's a good one. That's it.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right.
It's pretty. It's ruby colored.
Okay, Ruby.
Let me get my
Okay.
spectacles on.
Yes,
All right. Yeah.
indeed. What?
It looks garnet to me.
Mm.
I'm not good with distinguishing the colors. It looks different. When she was pouring
Yes.
it, I saw the light shining through it.
My first sniff
Here
of it
it
was
looks
very strong.
More
wonder if it is
purpley.
strong.
Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to do the white paper.
I
All right,
don't
cheers.
know. Yeah. All right, to President Biden. Thank you.
I can't toast, so I'm a neutral toast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My bad.
It smells very good.
You know, first of all, I have a confession. Well, not a confession, but a statement. I have stitches in my mouth.
Oh, right.
And I'm
right.
using this antiseptic rinse
Oh,
for it.
that's right.
And everything
Oh.
tastes bad to me.
Okay,
So this
right.
wine is mixing in because it like stays in your mouth for such a long time, this stuff.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's gonna throw
I
it
think
off,
I would
right?
like it if I hadn't rinsed a few hours ago.
I kept thinking that you're probably not going to like this.
Well, I can't tell whether I'm not liking it because I don't like it,
Right,
or because
right.
it tastes funny.
Okay,
It
so
dry.
smells very strong,
What
like
can you-
acidic. Is there?
no, it's not.
It's
Apparently, it's not that acidic.
Okay.
But all right. So,
Smells-
what are you smelling? What are the hints of aroma that you're getting?
Smells like wine.
You're so good.
I know.
She called it.
All right, black cherry.
Oh, it's always black cherry
Okay. Yep.
and cherry.
Yep. There's black cherry. Mm-hmm.
Is there blackberry?
Well,
I can't sound.
no.
No.
I'll tell you what's in here.
Yeah.
There's a
Smells
hint
citrusy a little bit.
of fresh basil
Mm.
Get that.
and bell pepper.
Oh wow.
Black
Spaghetti sauce.
Black. This guy's on black pepper.
I usually like
A dash of vanilla, medium body, spicy, gentle tannins.
See, this sounds like something I would like because I like spicy wine.
I think I would like it if it wasn't for this stuff.
Well, this I got, and I already did a tasting, obviously, as you saw, but I had to open it last
breakfast
night.
this
No, I
morning.
had to open it last night because I just had to open it last night because I loved it so much because when we went to a tasting out east on Sunday, went to this vineyard, Evan M, in
M squared.
yeah, and it's in the North Fork, and I think I was the only one who liked this so much because it's so dry.
I like very dry. You know,
Oh, okay, all right.
I always like
like
very dry.
wines too.
And
I think I would like it, but I could taste
Yeah.
the rinse in my mouth
yeah, so that's a
because
shame.
it just
And is it-
stays there for a long
Is
time.
this a Cabernet?
It's a Cabernet, and
I'll have to try it again. Now you bought it at the vineyard.
I bought it at the
It's
vineyard.
probably $32.99.
nope,
More?
Higher,
yep,
$40.
45,
Wow.
$45.
And
But
so this is a Long Island wine.
yes, it's a Long Island wine, but I enjoy it very much. It's only 12.5.
I see that 12.5 ABV.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I would give this a 5 Wildflowers, just because when we were tasting, because we had the whole different wines that we were tasting, I was sitting across from my son-in-law who does not like dry wine. So I had another Cabernet that was okay. And I said, "You want to switch?" And so I gave him mine, he gave me his, and I was very happy.
You liked it.
Yeah, so I do.
I
like
think
it.
that I would like it, but it's not fair to me to rate it right now.
Right,
Because
right.
it's got that funny taste.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
But it's like we've said in the past, unfortunately, there's a lot of Long Island wines that we're not fans of. But this one, and I love the vineyard. It was beautiful. We'll have to go out there
Okay.
sometime.
We liked the Long Island Cabernet Franc that we tasted.
Oh yes, we did. That's
Was it
from
Pellegrini or
We'll have to look back and
Yeah,
see.
now I can't
Pellegrini
remember.
or
But,
Puglisi? It wasn't Puglisi. I think it was
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Pellegrini.
not. I usually don't
yeah, but this
enjoy the Long Island wines.
but this
all right.
one made me very happy. So
Good.
Yeah,
All right. Good
so-
one.
Yeah, so that was. I'm the only one that can rate it right because you can't give it a rating.
Now, Andrew likes sweet
I
wines
haven't
or
tasted
just
it.
His mom came with us and she loves sweet wines. Andrew, no, I don't think he loved the sweet wine, but he doesn't like it so dry. I don't think.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why. Yeah, none of my kids like it that dry. They're like, Mom, why don't you just drink sand?
No, that's not true. Dry wines are the best,
Yeah, I
especially a
think so.
dry, full
Well, according
bodied
to
wine.
us, but
Yeah.
Well, they're wrong and we're right.
you got to hear, Frank. You
And
heard it
that's
here.
the way we see it. All right. Who's got the book?
Oh, I have the book.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to take a picture real quick while
Yeah,
you.
well, I don't know which one I'm really doing. I have like 5 books I could have brought.
Save one.
So
for
I wanted to give a shout out to this one at least.
All right.
So this I got from Akashic Books as
Oh yes.
as an advanced reader's copy.
Rebel
And
Falls.
yes, and every time I get an advanced reader's copy, I always never get around to either reading it for months until it's out, or I don't review it. And I want to correct that because it's very nice of them to send out the books.
Yes.
So Rebel Falls, what drew me to it.
Could you tell us who the author is?
The author is Tim Wendel,
Okay.
and he also has other books. I hope that they're listed in here because I forgot. Castro's Curveball, Escape from Castro's Cuba, Havana Libre, and Red Rain. And then he has a lot of nonfiction books too.
Long list.
Yeah, Summer of '68. It was about baseball, high heat. There was one that I remembered. I said, "Oh, I remember when that book was very, very popular," and now I can't find it. But anyway, he writes more nonfiction than fiction. So what appealed to me about it when I heard about it, I think you got this.
I think so.
You got this from Akashic Books, and I saw it, and I found that it was about the Civil War, and a historical fiction, which I don't read a lot, but I do like it. And I said, oh, that's interesting because it's about the Civil War as it happened in upstate New York, in Niagara Falls.
Interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
So evidently, that's what this book is about. It's about the Confederate spies who were in Canada on the other side, and they come down and stir up trouble in upstate New York.
Very cool.
And one of them, he was very famous. We ended up hanging him. He and a group of other people from the South tried to hijack the USS Michigan. It was in Lake Erie. We had like this battleship there.
Yeah.
It wasn't the battleships that we know today, but it was a gunboat.
Right.
And they tried to kidnap it, so to speak, hijack it. And they were going to like start blowing up all these cities around the Lake Erie area. And it revolves around this one woman named Rory Chase. But she wasn't a real person, but a lot of the people in this book were real.
Okay.
And how she wanted to be a part of the Civil War. Her mother had died, and her mother was an activist who worked with the Underground Railroad. And Niagara Falls was it was the last stop on the Underground Railroad.
So it was more like Western New York then.
Yeah, Niagara
Yes.
Falls. Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
So Lake Champlain wasn't part of this?
They're talking about Lake Erie here.
Okay.
I mean, Lake Champlain was mentioned a time or two, but it mostly took
Okay.
place around, Buffalo, Lake Erie,
Okay.
Niagara Falls especially.
Okay.
And Auburn, New York, which I recognized.
Oh,
I
yeah.
recognize the name because you pass it all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, Rory Chase was a young woman. Her mother, who was active with the Underground Railroad, had died, and she was kind of devastated, and the Civil War was raging, and she wanted to be a part of it and to do something for the Union. So like she cut off all of her hair, and she posed as a man, and she actually joined the infantry. And she was part of it until one day she got into a fight with one of the other infantry men. And when they were wrestling, he bumped into her and felt her breast. And then they made her leave and she had to go back home. So she actually marched back home.
It's like Mulan.
Yeah, exactly. And she went back
so
home,
funny.
so she got involved with this group of people in Niagara Falls. That they were active with the Underground Railroad, and they were also spies. Like, they got assignments and they had to watch for people coming over the bridge. I think they called it, it was a suspension bridge that came from Canada to New York. The String Bridge. I should have written notes on it, but of course I didn't. So anyway, she gets involved with them and she becomes a spy, and she works with this guy who's like a big time spy for Dixie, and she pretends that like she's one of them, and I could go on and on and on, but I don't feel like it.
Well, how many Wildflowers would you give?
I would give it. It was very well written. It was very good. I like that real characters were in it too. Like what was his first name? John Stewart. He was the Secretary of State. Abraham Lincoln is in it. Fanny Stewart, who was John Stewart's daughter, was very active. She was an activist too. She did die. I found out she died a year after all this really happened of tuberculosis. And I really, really liked it. I would give it 4 Wildflowers out of 5.
Okay.
It was well written. It was interesting. There were some things, me, with characters like Rory Chase. Like, she had empathy with this character that I said, are you kidding me? But whatever.
Oh, she makes me laugh. You remind me, like, I don't know why I don't read more books like this, because like when you were saying like historical fiction or the more, one of my favorite books is Killer Angels.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, why don't I read more of that?
One of my favorite books is Rise to Rebellion by Jeff Shahara.
His son.
His son.
Right.
That was excellent. That was about the Revolutionary War. I loved that book.
Really? Okay.
Yes, very good. Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, so I could just leave it at that and do this one another time.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
That was a good review.
Yeah, so anyway, the book came out in May, so look for it in your local bookstore. I'm a little late, sorry, I got this book.
Okay.
But
Rebel Falls.
Rebel Falls by Tim Wendel.
A lot of people are looking for historical fiction because a lot of it deals with like World War II, and stuff. And I'm reading one now that's set in World War II
What's going on
setting.
today?
Right, but so it's nice to get something in a different time period.
Right.
Good one.
Because we learn from history, or we should.
It made me want to go back to Niagara Falls. Remember when
I was
we
just
went?
there last
and I
year.
said, I want to go back again.
You have to, absolutely.
It's great.
Yeah. No.
Well, speaking of learning from history, I have the topic.
Yes.
And my
Okay.
topic is about Mother Jones and
Wow.
relating that to kind of what's going on
Mother
now.
Jones, the magazine?
I don't know if there is a magazine.
Yes.
There is.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Actually, there is. You're right. Well, when I was in Philadelphia, there was a, and that's a picture I sent to you. There's a placard.
Yes.
Dedicated to Mother Jones, and I admittedly didn't know who she was. So I took a picture of it with the intention of learning more about her. So I did.
Right.
And I said this would make a really nice topic, and we are learning so much. Basically, she was.
I love that you're doing this topic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I think
She's
it's-
very interesting.
She wasn't even born then.
I know.
Believe it or
Well,
not, I don't think we were.
you weren't
either.
Mother Jones.
yeah, no, she was born. Now, her date of birth is a little askew. I don't know if anybody really knows her actual date. I've seen it written as 1830.
Oh, well, I know the
1837.
magazine, Mother Jones magazine in the 70s.
Well, they
Yeah.
named it after
After her.
Yeah, well,
So-
that's what I'm familiar with. Then.
So she was baptized in 1837, but they think she was born in 1830, and she died in 1930. So she lived a very
okay.
long time. She was born Mary Harris Jones. She was born Mary Harris, and she married somebody named Jones.
I like that last name, Harris.
Yeah. Well, she is best known, and I'll talk about it with March of the Mill Children or March of the Factory Children. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Wow.
She was born in County Cork, Ireland.
Wow.
And she immigrated to Toronto at the age 5 years of age. She had a lot of different jobs. She was
Wait, she went to Toronto at 5 years with her parents?
with her parents.
Okay,
yes,
thank
sorry.
you.
Or a teen. Actually, this is confusing. Like, so I saw a couple of different things.
Okay.
So she came with her family. You know,
Right,
essentially.
right.
She married George Jones, who was from Tennessee.
Country singer.
She had. She was a teacher in Michigan and in Tennessee. She was also a seamstress in Illinois. She had 4 children in 6 years.
Wow.
So 4 children in 6 years. And in 1867, her entire family died from yellow fever. Her husband and all of her children died.
Oh, gosh. That was so
and-
common back then.
I was just going to say that, you know, we hear these stories, but you know, you really, when you put yourself there, you're just like,
I know. Can
I
you
mean,
imagine?
well, like COVID. I mean, recently,
Yeah.
that's the most that we
That's
can
it.
compare it to.
Do I have a picture? This is a picture. She, you know, I'll post something online. Mother Jones.
Well, she was very impressive looking.
Yes.
Right?
She looked, oh, I'm sorry. She
wore-
looks very dignified.
After her
Beautiful.
family died, she wore black and never wore anything else but black. She always
that
dressed
was
in black.
common back then too.
Yeah.
Even
Right.
when I was a kid.
You had to
So
wear
after-
The old Italian ladies just wore black
Wore
for
black.
the rest of their lives.
So
Pretty
she
much.
did, and when her family died, that was 1867. She then moved, and I think where was she, in Tennessee at the time? I don't remember, but she moved back to Chicago in 1870, and then she lost everything in the fire of 1871.
Oh my God!
Chicago,
the
The Great Fire.
Right.
You know, so I say
Wow.
all this as a backdrop so you can kind of know what you know her hardships that she's had
Yeah.
to endure for all of that.
Oh my God!
But she didn't let it take her down. She got involved, and she's best known for her work with unions. And
okay.
organize, and you know I'm a big proponent of unions, and if you're part of a union or have the ability to join a union, join a union. They are so important for a black. For blue collar workers, for our middle class, our protections that we have here are all from unions.
They actually built the middle class.
Absolutely, and to hear talks of Elon Musk who
Oh
says
my
firing
God.
people for
And
for
Trump laughing about it.
Well, I'll just talk about Elon Musk for him laughing about that statement. Is disgusting because Elon Musk is a big employer, and to know that this guy who could put his technology for good is doing it at the risk of employees.
Right.
Is disgusting. Anyway, so in 1877, she helped lead this it was a great railroad strike, and she led many of the strikes and led to which led to the Haymarket riot. And at this time, she was also a publisher. She published two books. So she was
goodness.
writing about all of this stuff, right?
This is amazing.
She helped organize the coal miners in West Virginia
We need
and
her now.
Pennsylvania, right?
Fine.
But what was her passion was, when she realized, well, before I get to this real quick, she's a complicated person. I don't know if she would be aligned with the move that's going on too. She wasn't a suffragette. She actually did not support the suffragettes.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so despite all of that, she was
See,
very
that makes it
complicated
interesting.
history.
That's so
She-
contradictory
Yeah.
to what everything else
she
she
was a
doing.
strong Catholic fundamentalist. Okay, so her beliefs
That's a problem.
really believed that workers needed, working men deserved a living wage that would allow women to stay home and care for their children. So
Well,
that
because
was that's the time.
what life was for women back then,
Yeah.
and she wasn't that forward thinking.
Right. But she was a strong believer, and that's why I want to link it up to what's going on today, to children not being in the workplace.
Right.
And protections for children. Hence, so in the backdrop is in 1901, 1/6 of American children under the age of 16 were employed.
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
employed in very dangerous
But
situations.
they weren't making a lot of money.
No, they weren't. They were getting injured. They were getting limbs cut off. They were getting fingers cut off. They were working in like meat packing plants where they're using a lot of, dangerous equipment and so forth.
The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory.
Yes, and chemicals, companies with chemicals. And so in Philadelphia, it was she really believed that children should not be working at all because she felt that the rich were denying these children the right to go to school in order to pay for their own kids' college tuition.
Oh my
And
God,
she did.
yes.
Does that sound familiar?
Oh, it sure does.
So
Wow.
she thought this was so not right, and so she organized the March of the Mill Children. The sign I gave to you said March of the Factory Children. Okay. So this was 121 years ago. All right, in July. It started with seeing workers in textile factories, like silk factories, and so forth. And a lot of these were young women, young girls who she felt should not be in the workplace at all. They should be in school. She really felt the importance of an education. So she organized a strike, a movement. She tried to get media attention, but because most of the newspapers were owned by rich factory workers, and they refused to cover the story.
Yeah.
So she said, screw this, we're going to march to see President Roosevelt.
Oh,
And they marched from Philadelphia to Oyster Bay, where Peggy lives, to Oyster Bay, Long Island. I didn't know this, and I grew up on Long Island.
No, there's so much we don't know.
And it's the March of
The Mill Children,
I love that Peggy's taking notes.
right? So I'll give you some. So their slogans were, "We want to go to school and knock the mines." These were children, the factory children, all marched. There were hundreds and hundreds of them. They held rallies in each town along the way, and they demanded to be seen by Roosevelt. Roosevelt would never meet with her, though.
Wow.
I was disappointed, but the damage was done. She got the attention of the public because they're holding these rallies along the way and in the stops from Philadelphia because they're walking this.
But I have a question.
Oh, sure.
And I don't know if you have an answer for this.
I don't know.
No. All right, so these children are walking. Were their parents backing them up? Were the parents thinking, oh, well, no, they need to bring home money, so we really want them working and not going to school? Like, I wonder what the general feeling was.
I don't know, and I didn't do that research on it.
I'm sure
but she
they
did.
were taken advantage of because they were poor and needed the money.
Needed the money,
Yeah.
right? Exactly.
She did write an
I mean, I'm glad
autobiography.
she did. Okay.
Yeah,
but
so
I'm
I
glad
think
she
it might
did
be
this.
in there.
Is the autobiography, is it listed under Mother Jones?
It's called The Autobiography of Mother Jones, and it was published in 1925. So I want to see if I could find a copy
Yeah.
Probably
because I would
could,
like to
yeah.
read it. But her name is still invoked to this day in union and labor movements, and there's an annual Mother Jones Festival in Cork, Ireland every year still.
Okay.
So they're keeping that
Is
alive.
Niall aware of her? Was he familiar with
You know what? I didn't ask him. I should have. My husband's from Ireland. I did ask him
I was
about that, but
curious.
he's not from Cork, so
Right.
I don't know. But I bring it back to you because I know there's been a lot of talk about Project 2025. Have you heard of it? Yeah. So
You know what? I have
there
to
is
say,
a movement to
yeah.
bring the child labor back,
Yes,
to roll back the laws.
Yes, I heard that.
Okay, so what they would like to do with Project 2025 is to rework the Department of Labor to amend its hazard order regulations.
Amanda.
To permit teenage workers access to work in regulated jobs with proper training and parental consent.
Well, there you go.
Okay, in some cases, right? But the Fair Labor Standards, which took place in 1938, it took nearly a century for us to get here.
And now we want to go back.
And now we want to go
Well, we
back,
don't want to go
right?
back, but
So now this is
The
mostly.
Republican Party wants to go
Well,
back.
they're not
that brings me to my
Republicans.
thing. It's mostly a conservative movement. However, there are, look at New Jersey, which what they did recently, where they allowed, they increased the number of hours that minors could
I
work.
heard that.
Now in New Jersey, you can work 50 hours a week without
While you're in
parental
school?
consent.
For school-age
Up to
children?
5 days a week, 16 and 17-year-old children.
Wow.
When you're not in school. No, and 14 and 15-year-olds could work 40 hours during the summers.
During the summer?
But yeah, that part's during the summer.
Yeah.
But if they're used to the money and the family gets dependent upon this in the
Yeah.
summer, what do you think is the logical next step? When
Yeah,
school
or
goes
the child thinks, oh, I like making this money.
Right.
I'm not going back to school. I'm 16. They
Because
can't
it's-
make me go.
It's
Right.
an instant gratification
Yep.
and missing the point.
Well,
of
even
education.
worse, there's some things I wanted to tell you about. All right, so
Look at the notes.
New
she's
Hampshire, 14-year-olds now can bus tables, and they increase the number of hours that 16 and 17-year-olds can work during school. Iowa, 14-year-olds can now perform assembly work in factories and meat packing plants.
Oh my
14-year-olds
Two of
in
us.
Iowa. That's what Mother Jones was
God.
trying to get them out of 100 and something years ago, and now they're rolling it back. Wait till you hear what Arkansas is doing. Okay, Arkansas removed age verification requirements for employers and made longer and allowed longer hours for kids in school nights. This led to an 88% increase in illegal hiring since they did that in 2019. They also propose, get this, something called, I love how they make the things sound so nice, their
Right,
titles.
right.
Career Ready Pathway Program.
Oh, gosh.
Which allows 8th grade students
Oh my
to
God.
immediately enter a career field. This
Career.
Yeah.
field. So 8th grade students are usually 13-year-olds.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what we're doing in Arkansas. Shame on you, Arkansas, and shame on you
Doesn't
voters
surprise me.
for not
Sorry.
stopping that when it came in. So. The first child labor law, was passed by a state, Massachusetts, in 1836. Woohoo! And it required children under the age of 15 who worked in factories to attend a minimum of 3 months of school. So that's what things
Okay.
were like in
Yeah.
the beginning. So I throw
The
that in
point
there.
before the last point, what was it? Because I had a question
Arkansas,
about it.
the career ready pathway.
Before that.
The 88% increase of illegal hiring without
Yeah, that.
the age verification.
So
yeah.
illegal hiring of the children.
Of the children.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so let's just look at since January 2024, 8 states introduced or took new actions on bills to roll back child labor protections. You'll hear some familiar names, like Florida. Right now, they're debating a bill, it already passed the House, that would eliminate long-standing state guidelines on work hours for teens, which would allow employers to schedule 16 and 17-year-olds for unlimited hours, including during the school year, and eliminate meal and rest breaks for these
my God.
children. This is Florida.
But
Doesn't surprise me.
But you know what? It just hit me right now. My heart goes out to the teachers trying to teach these students, and the students that are going to be sleeping on their desk if they even get to go to school,
Yeah.
and trying to inspire them when all they want to do is sleep or just
And parents may not have their best interests at heart, and
Right.
and telling them, well, don't go to school if you're that tired, but you need to go to work.
They might have
Right.
parents who didn't finish school themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And well, that's what this
Yeah.
is. It's a generational. You bring up this generation.
That's right.
That's what they're going to know. They'll have children who will only do that, and that will keep the millionaires with
Pay no attention.
cheap, multiple labor. Disposable labor as well, because they're not getting their rights. Kentucky lawmakers introduced a bill to allow nonprofits, I'll tell you why nonprofits, to hire 12 and 13-year-olds. They can't do, because federal law prohibits most non-agricultural employment for children under the age of 14, which is why they do nonprofits. And there's a bill in Kentucky to prohibit the state's labor commission from setting standards on child labor.
Wow.
Isn't
Now,
this
in
crazy?
Kentucky, their governor is actually a Democrat. Isn't that Kinnear?
I think you're right.
I don't know.
He spoke at the convention.
Yeah. But this is Kentucky lawmakers.
Right.
So,
So it's their Congress, and I'm
their
sure that
Congress.
they're all Republicans.
Yeah.
You know,
two
like
other states, so
Mitch
Indiana and New Jersey, which we talked about, have also introduced bills to extend the number of hours that minors can be scheduled to work, either during the summer or year-round. So despite what New Jersey did already, they still have more bills to extend. I mean, aren't there anything else going on besides, trying to make children work more that you need to do this in Congress?
Yeah.
Because they could pay them less money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and
They don't need benefits because they're covered under their parents, and they don't need vacation time.
Well, let's talk about the parents, what else they're not going to need. In two states like Missouri and West Virginia, they have introduced new bills to eliminate youth work permits, which is what you need parental consent.
Yeah.
If you're under the age of 16 in most states, they're saying, you're not even going to need that. And a Georgia bill introduced in 2023, which was recommitted in 2024, would also eliminate youth work permits and allow 14-year-olds to do landscaping work on the grounds of workplaces where they are otherwise prohibited from working, like factories and mills. And a lot of dangerous chemicals on those properties, a lot of dangerous materials, sharp metals and all of this. But let's let 14-year-olds, without parental consent,
I can't
go
picture
and do this.
14-year-olds doing that kind of work.
It's hard enough to picture adults doing that kind of work.
There are 3 more states considering proposals allowing employers to hire children for hazardous jobs, potentially in violation of federal standards right now. That's pending right now. And those states are Georgia, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, and New York.
Wow.
That's where we are.
We need to do something.
Yes. We definitely have to do something. So the bill, there's so much
You're gonna
to
run for
learn.
office.
I think you
Too
should.
old,
Peggy.
not smart enough.
This article,
You're very
so
smart.
I don't know enough.
Iowa lawmakers
You do.
have introduced a bill to weaken standards related to child.
Sorry.
Oh,
Stop.
no, this one you're going to want to hear. I know it's a lot of facts.
Okay.
I'm trying to get a
No,
lot
I'm
of.
sorry. I made a joke.
She made a joke and then she made me laugh.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Iowa lawmakers have introduced a bill to weaken standards related to child-to-staff ratios at child care centers.
Child what?
Child-to-staff ratios
okay.
at child care.
Okay.
So the new House bill would allow 16-year-olds to care for 4 infants or 7 toddlers or 10 3-year-olds without direct supervision.
Now, what state is this in?
That's Iowa.
Jesus. That's ridiculous. Anybody who left that kid in that
I would
place
want to
is
watch.
nuts.
I would not want to watch those children all by
I was
myself.
a daycare provider, and I had it in a very, it was a very small area.
Controlled. It was.
Exactly.
And you're an
Anyway,
adult.
And I didn't have 10 people, 10 toddlers.
Yeah.
Now, I read the article, but I also I highlighted the ones that I looked up and verified, but you can do your own research, as well, and I encourage you to do that. There's more inside in the article that I just didn't have time to verify, but I would encourage you all to pay attention to what's going on, pay attention to what your lawmaker on both sides, what they're intending to, they say that they're going to do, that they're supportive of. I mean, we all hopefully love children and not as employees, and we want them to grow up with access to education and and with all of their limbs and fingers. I mean, at the very least, in
Isn't
their
it
lives.
amazing? Again, I feel like curiosity could cover for what we do here, because you came across Mother Jones and then look at what you unearthed.
Absolutely, you got to be curious. We talked
That's
about
right.
curiosity, and it's true. And I think years ago I might have just passed over, because I've been to Philadelphia many times, and I would have see that, didn't know what it was, but I left Philadelphia taking pictures of a lot of different signs that I was like, I don't know about this. I need to do some research on it, and it's a great way to.
I make little
yourself.
notes, like if I hear something on NPR, mention a name, I write it down, and then when I have time, I research it, and
That's why we'll never run out of topics, because all 3 of us are curious.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
When I was a manager at Borders, the reason I never hired anybody under 18 years old.
Now you could have though, right?
Yeah, I
Oh,
could have,
yes.
but I
Right.
said that no, we don't hire people under 18 because there's so many regulations.
Right.
And like you could get fined too. I mean, New York State used to be very strict.
Right.
When I was managing the bowling alley, we would get audited. They come, they look at your schedule. You had to highlight all the minors that were working for you,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of them in the bowling alley.
Oh,
And
right.
you had to show when they took a break, how many hours they worked, and
Well, apparently
was-
that's too burdensome because Florida just says, well, we're gonna not
it
even
is
give them a
burdensome.
break.
But if you're going to hire minors, you have to do the work.
Not in Florida.
Yeah.
So, well,
Well,
Florida
what
is
can we do? What can we do? What, all right, so these are all issues.
right to the governor.
Right.
And
okay.
vote for people who have your children's best interests at heart. Honestly, people who live in these states who have voted for these people, like Florida or Iowa, and some of the other states that I mentioned, do you really think that the people you voted for, that it's in your child's best interest, or is it in the best interest of those people who own the companies to have laws such as this in place?
Sure, and they're the people who were paying into people's campaigns.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it all,
So use
it all
your
comes down
vote.
to money and power.
Right, use
Yep.
your vote. Don't vote for a party, vote for what they are trying to do.
And don't only look at, like everybody seems to be focusing on for the election, inflation.
Oh.
We've been going through the inflation going up and down my whole lifetime. I don't
Mine
know
too.
about anybody else's.
Yeah.
But you know what? Look behind the lines too. Some of these people are really, really bad people who do not have our best interests at
No,
heart.
they absolutely don't. And
All right,
it's-
so, Judy can't talk about these things.
Okay. All right. Okay.
No, that's okay. You
But
guys
anyway,
can.
did you see anything about Mother Jones magazine?
I think I did. I didn't write it here, but I have a bunch of articles. I could go on for a long time.
I'm gonna look it up because I remember that. God, when I
But
was
it's
a young
also-
woman, it was like a newspaper, Mother
Yeah.
Jones.
Yeah, they did
Right.
talk
And I
about
think
in
they
one
do
of the,
have
I just
NPR,
can't
they
find
have
it now,
a program
that they
on it.
had publications because she is still talked about, like I
Yeah.
said, in
Yeah.
her legacy. There's so many things that she could do. But what I found was interesting that she was complicated. She was called the most dangerous woman in America, which is funny because I thought Madame Restell, when I talk about Madame
yeah,
Restell,
yeah.
she was also called the
Yeah.
most dangerous woman in America.
So any woman who had any kind of gumption or power was a dangerous
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
So
and each time it was a man making these titles. So
yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
So there you are. I hope hey,
Well,
it'd be
that's
nice.
number 84 under our belt.
There we go.
So thank you, Judy.
for listening and watching.
Yes.
3 of the
Would
most dangerous
please
women in America, right
tell-
here, signing
yeah,
off.
yeah. please share our video with others. We do this because we love it, but it'd be
Yes.
nice to get more viewers.
That's right. It sure would.
And we would just
If you build
Appreciate
it, they will come.
exactly. We're building it. Bye.
Bye,
All
everybody.
The women in white. We are ending it this time. Bye.
Bye.
We're saying goodbye.